one of my favorite tweets early in the Trump administration, I think it was 2018. It was from this actress. I forgot who it was, but it was in Los Angeles, and she tweeted out that, oh, there's immigration checkpoints, and so she's tweeting to her followers, tell your gardeners, tell your housemaids, tell them to avoid this area. And everyone's just like, wait, why are you automatically assuming that to tell their? But it's true because that is a majority of their staff. And so when they think about immigrants, it's the help.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just so patronizing, and it's just so fake, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah. So I just pulled up the article because I had to make sure I had it right.
Was it Kelly Clarkson?
Kelly Osborne.
Okay.
She said, if you kick out Latinos, who's going to be cleaning your toilet? What? These people.
Again, they just see us as a political tool to hit Republicans with and to clean their toilets and cook their food.
I'm gonna read this quote. And I'm going to be very precise and annoying how I read this for political purposes because they're going to cut us out of context. Kelly Osborne said, if you kick every Latino out of this country, then who is, and this is what Kelly Osborne said, going to be cleaning your toilet? Donald Trump, you know what I mean? Osborne said in an attempt to call out the Republican presidential candidate who faced massive backlash. No, that's not no, interrupted co-host Rosie Perez, continuing, there's more jobs than that in the country for Latinos, and Latinos are not the only people who clean toilets. And she immediately backtracked. I didn't mean it like that. Come on, I would never mean it like that. Dude, you totally meant it like that. And it was only when she got snapped back, she was like, oh, is that wrong? Am I not allowed to say that?
I thought we were all on the same page here.
Yeah.
This is it. Think about, it's not even about Latinos or Mexicans or people from Honduras. It is about cheap immigrant labor. Yeah. And it used to be, who was it? Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders warned about how the Koch brothers supported open immigration because it would work great for their big corporations.
Yeah, you get some dude who comes in working below minimum wage, no benefits because they're off the books, under the table. And then you basically have an underclass. Then Vox.com, the progressive website, wrote in 2016, the Democratic Party is becoming the party of the wealthy elites. So it's no surprise then the Democrats are the ones who are now saying, oh, we got to have more immigration and open borders. It's remarkable. Trump ran on the Republican ticket saying border security, no free trade. And it worked because regular Americans were like, yeah, I like this idea of, America first. The big business special interest corporations and the ultra wealthy were like, how am I going to hire ultra cheap labor with no rights if the Republican is doing this? All of a sudden, the Democrats were now like, yeah, open borders. Even though in 2008, 2010, you had Democrats who were like, we have to build a border security barrier.
That was the 2006, the Secure Fence Act. Joe Biden voted for that fence.
Oh. So you're calling Joe Biden a racist?
Oh, snap.
I think he called himself that.
Yeah,
but so even with all that, and that's why when they're saying, President Trump's not building any new fence, just replacing the old one. Well, the one that was built in 2006, it was basically just glorified chicken wire, and you can be easily cut into within minutes.
Right.
And so this new one that they're replacing, along with areas where there was no barrier, it takes hours. And the whole point is to slow them down and to actually get Border Patrol agents to that area so that they can either stop them or arrest them. And so it's just a lot of misinformation, a lot of rhetoric, as it typically does. But I've been there, I've been all over El Paso, Laredo, San Diego, and it's just amazing when you're actually there and you see it and you see the difference. It's just amazing.
It's remarkable how the Democrats really rely on you not knowing anything, and so they'll be like, Donald Trump didn't build new border wall; he only replaced existing wall. If you've never seen it, you're imagining this giant wall, and Trump comes in and just takes out a wall and puts in a wall and nothing changed. And then when you actually look at it, the original wall was like some fence posts with a single log across it that you could just walk in limbo under. Yeah. And then Trump put triple reinforced, barricades with CBP in between. And it's like, yeah, those are very different things. Yeah. And then when they're like, yeah, but Trump should be building new wall. It's like, but those are the hot spots that the Trump supporters wanted secured. Right. So Trump wasn't giving his supporters a 30-foot big, beautiful concrete wall from sea to shining sea paid for by Mexico, but he was reinforcing areas with, strong security and a border wall where it was most effective.
Yeah. Also, the conversation changed because before we had individuals like Bernie Sanders that were talking about how if we have a lot of people entering the labor force, wages are going to go down on the basic understanding of supply and demand economics. That conversation's not happening anymore. That conversation about the average worker, the average person trying to make a living wage, that's not factored in anymore, and it should be, and that should be a big part of the conversation.
I think it's just special interests. They want to make a quick buck. They've hijacked. It's really clever. I'll put it this way. You know, it's a lot easier to be on the side of social justice and have all these institutions supporting you. But I got to say, these people who think they're fighting for, you know, social justice and things like that, you really think these billion-dollar corporations and these meat-packing plants care about their workers? Look, when they slap a rainbow sticker over their logo, they're doing it so that you stop fighting against them, and it works. It does. Not completely. Well, I'm not gonna be naive enough or you know, stupid enough to try and argue that legitimate, principled left-wing activists are going to stop arguing against corporations because they put a rainbow up. But a lot of the establishment Democrat voters, the people who don't investigate news, who are not particularly active, stop being active when they're like, "Yay, we did it! Coca-Cola agrees with us." They told everyone to be less white. The fight's over. Oh, there you go.
By the way, do you guys have any Coke?
No,
Coca-Cola?
Coca-Cola?
No, we
Nope.
probably do have Coke products somewhere. Why? Do you want something to drink?
Oh, no, I just want to be less white.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
okay. Hey, me too. Yeah.
Did you guys see the G Prime 85 comic?
Oh
So
my
the
gosh,
art,
yes.
The art we have on the walls is from George Alexopoulos, and he made one where it's a white woman being baptized in Coca-Cola.
Oh, yeah.
That's messed up.
What was the tagline with that? I forgot the tag.
Power of diabetes.
Yes,
yeah, by
and
the
the power of
Right.
diabetes.
Yes.
I grant you away from your whiteness or something
That's
like
right.
that.
Are
Yeah.
you thinking about my time in LA? I worked at a restaurant for a long time and had a lot of friends there that were from Central America that came over illegally and were basically extracting wealth from the country because they would get paid in cash and then they would send the money to Mexico to their families. And then they would work in the U.S. for a couple of years and then leave and go be super rich in Mexico.
Relatively rich, yeah.
Yeah, and they were super cool, great friends, and it was a small business. So they're basically, it's not just the big corporations, but if the small business can't survive if they have to pay full wages. It's hard to pay taxes and rent and everything.
There was a big movement for a while about local currencies. Do you guys know about this? Like Ithaca Hours was a big thing where basically there was money that was only good in the town of Ithaca, New York. So if you worked, they could be like, we could pay you in US dollars or Ithaca hours. And it was like 1 hour of labor equaled a 1 hour note. And you could trade it for food and goods in this place. So it had real value among the community. What this did was it ensured that the trade medium could not leave the city.
Right.
So if you got a city like Detroit and then the auto plants close down and leave, now there's no more dollars coming in. People don't have anything to trade with. So with local currencies, that currency is always there. That's why I think it's relevant to bring up with what you were saying, Ian. When people come to the U.S., work under the table and don't pay taxes. I'm not saying none of them pay taxes. I'm saying, but when they specifically don't, they're not giving back to the system. They're getting from. They're using our infrastructure. Then that money is extracted from the system and sent overseas to whatever country their family is in. Their families then can then use that because the standard of living will be lower. So it goes a lot further in those places. But that means there is less currency in that town to circulate among the people who live there. Ultimately, an extraction of the labor value of that area. So it's basically like the labor being brought in is being traded away to other countries and other places. Over time, it's an extraction from the U.S. You combine that with outsourcing, factories being sent overseas and open borders, and you're going to see seriously detrimental economic effects in this country. And that's why you get a Donald Trump. Because regular Americans, look at this. When you look at the original thing we were talking about, the Democrats saying Trump supporter bad and Trump supporters saying illegal immigration bad, it sounds like the Trump supporters, the conservatives, the Republicans are looking at the data and thinking, what will make things better in this country? Well, we got a problem with illegal immigration for a variety of reasons. The Democrats are like, Republicans are bad. It's like, that's not a policy problem. That doesn't mean anything. Republicans are actually saying this is an issue. What do the Democrats do to combat the fact that Republicans are talking about a legitimate policy debate? They say they're racist. They just hate brown people. That's the only explanation.
Well.
They hate brown people. They're xenophobic.
I hate myself.
Yeah, how dare you
right?
be
Yeah.
you be conservative and not white. That's not allowed.
Oh, I've been called a race traitor multiple times.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, it's
And
great.
then,
Oh, it's
but
fantastic.
I love how they tell non-white people to be race traitors. Sorry, not to be race traitors, but then they tell white people to be race traitors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like they have that whiteness chart that was like went out at that school, and it said like be a race traitor, and it's like, okay, go tell it to anybody who's not white. No, and then they say, but it's not about race.
Yeah, that was a principal in New York City who sent a pamphlet to all the parents in that high school that, by the way, there was I think 17% of the kids were white. That it's good to be a white trader. Like,
what?
Yes. We could probably pull up the article. New York City principal hands out woke pamphlet, and then you could see the pamphlet in itself. It was based off of some university professor that created a scale of whiteness, asking white people to rate themselves. And one of the better scales to be at is to be a white race trader.
Yes. That's right, because you're like either complicit in white supremacy or
exactly.
you're
Here we go.
against
Yeah,
it.
I found it. Yeah.
Okay.
So we got this one from Syracuse.com. New York principal asks parents to reflect on their whiteness. And there's this tweet. Christopher Rufo, who we've had, he's great, is the one who, I think he broke the story. And it's the 8 white identities. I think we talked about this on the show the other day or whatever. But it's definitely worth bringing up because it literally says to be a white traitor. It's like, it's green. It's like white supremacist is red, bad, red. And then white privilege is like orange. So there's like a wheel where it's like it goes red to yellow to green.
What is that?
White voyeurism?
What the?
I don't know what that means.
I'm so confused.
Like you like people watching. You like watching white people?
White?
That's what it means,
I
right?
don't know. Yeah, that's what voyeurism
Yeah.
is.
Exhibitionism is when you like people watching you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And voyeurism is when you like watching others.
Yep. Really
So
weird.
you like watching
Really
white people? I don't
weird.
understand what that means. And then there's white benefit, white confessional, white critical, white traitor,
Dude, it's a
and white
religion.
abolitionist.
White confessional.
Yeah, this is a cult, man. It's a weird race cult.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yuck.
I just want them to stop making Latinx a thing.
Oh my gosh. Right.
Kleenex.
Yeah, well, it's
Like
just
Kleenex?
and then I forgot who tweeted it, but they tweeted a picture of an article. I think it was like a food magazine, but it was Filipinx.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, I mean, it's just completely insulting. I mean, well, one, it's like they're starting to realize that how machismo and how actually gendered the Spanish language is, and I mean, well, there you go.
At the end of every Spanish word, it's either a male or female.
Well, romantic language.
word.
Yeah, and so it goes against that orthodoxy of gender fluidity and all this stuff, and so it's just they're trying to act like, well, we're saving you from yourselves of being sexist and oppressive towards people who don't identify as that. It's just like, well, or maybe you're the ones being racist because you're literally destroying the foundation of the language of these minorities.
You speak Spanish, yeah?
Only
A little bit?
I only speak a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just love the idea of them saying Latinx, but they don't actually know how to speak the language. Could you imagine trying to speak Spanish where you replaced the O's and A's with X's?
Oh,
Mi
they
perix.
they look at you weird.
Yo quiero, yo
just-
kidix, yix, comedix.
and there
It's
was
like Pig Latin.
it was like there was a Gallup poll, I believe it was Gallup that showed it was like 90% of Hispanics had never even heard of that. And
How do you even describe Latinx? Like, what does it mean? Where did it come from? Because I don't even
well, it's just to denote that you're just trying to make it gender neutral to be sensitive to others, but the overall Latino community just rejects it. And
So
I
I got it pulled
As
up.
they
About
should.
1 in 4 U.S. Hispanics have heard of Latinx, but just 3% use it.
Read the next line.
Young Hispanic women among those most likely to
Yes,
use the
It's
term.
always the chicks.
college.
Yep.
How do you
Women.
so it's not just Spanish though, it's like Romance languages have gendered words.
Oh yeah.
So like bonjournix. What?
Mussolini changed the
Mussolinix. Come on.
the gender of
Muselix.
the
You guys ever eat muselix?
yeah, it's good. Of the river, the great Italian river had the female gender,
He made it male.
and he made it male and was like, we are a masculine country. So there is something dangerous about making something male or female dominating. I think you could oppress a gender that way, but I don't know if it necessarily does.
You know what the argument I made was? So you do speak a little bit. You guys speak a little bit of Spanish.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
just,
what does niño mean?
Little guy.
Little boy,
What does niños mean?
little boys,
What does niña mean?
little girl,
What does niñas mean?
little girls.
But what if I said los niños and pointed to a group of school children? What does that mean?
Yeah. Just
Boys
kids.
and girls.
Yeah.
Well, it can be. Right. Because yeah.
So the point I would always bring up is the word that's supposed to be for boy could actually reference girls as well. But women get an exclusive word just for themselves. That's privilege. So if you see a group of children, boys and girls, you would say los niños. But niño is masculine, yet women get included in the masculine as well. but men don't get included in the feminine. So I'm not seriously complaining about the language, but I was actually talking, this is like 15 years ago, I was talking to this feminist who was complaining to this about me when I was like a teenager in Chicago. And I was like, how is it fair that, you know, women get exclusive words to describe themselves, but the masculine words are used to describe both? So women get both words? I was being somewhat facetious to point out the language itself is not sexist.
It's not
just
the issue.
It's just a way to describe things. But look, man, you could make something up, and someone probably could do this. Find something that could be presumably perceived as sexist, and then they'll latch onto it. I don't know. Start arguing that we should. Did you know that the modern banana was artificially selected? So it did not evolve naturally. Humans were picking the bananas that they liked and then only replanting the ones that were better and better. Eventually, we end up with this big sugary wad that's not even got seeds in it. You know what I mean? Like original bananas used to have all these different seeds. It was very starchy and not sweet. So what you got to do now is you got to tell them that's sexist. It was the men choosing the dick-shaped fruit. What? Yeah, because of patriarchy.
Whoa.
It's about time we start artificially selecting bananas to not be shaped like
Wieners.
No, but it's the stupidest idea ever. But you could make something like that up. Oh, Spanish is sexist because there's gendered language. Okay, well then, like, basically every Romance language is sexist.
So they're gonna get there. They just want to focus on the brown people first.
Yeah. Because it's the white progressives who know better for you. You know.
I mean, it's very condescending. I mean, like honestly, like I don't get like too actually like quote unquote like triggered about stuff, but that actually upsets me just because it's just I understand what they're trying to do, but it's just done in such a completely inconsiderate and not in a serious way, and it's self-defeating.
You mean taking the gender out of the language?
Well, right, yeah. Well, because they're signaling that we don't know that we're being sexist, and so they're coming to the rescue.
But look, why is comida, food, is feminine? Is that fair? It's sexist that food is for women. Like, who cares? What are you talking about?
It's just whatever. I mean, that's why they don't give it a second thought.
The Arabic's interesting. I don't want to exemplify it, but I'm pretty sure in Arabic, it's if a woman is saying something or if a man is saying something, they use different language. Or is it if you're talking to a woman, you use a different way you use a different phrase than if you're talking to a man?
That might sounds
very
possible.
I would say very
will
strange
say,
because I'm not used to it.
I grew up in a Polish area. Chicago's got a very, very large Polish community. Shout out to Kazimierz Pulaski. Saw a great tweet from Jack Posobiec about that.
Yeah.
But I didn't learn this until recently, and Luke confirmed that they actually give women different last names.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So how does that work? What is that? What's that all about?
Well, it's feminine and male. So usually a Polish name is with a ski for when it's for a man, and ska when it's for a woman.
So the patriarchy of Poland, they don't even give women the name of the men. They say, no, you get a different one. You're a ska, not a ski. Skis are only for men. See, that's the patriarchy.
My dad likes ska music.
There you go.
Ska music.
Ska.
Sorry,
Ska is
The
feminist.
the funny thing about it, though, is like, I don't know if that's sexist or not, but you could argue it is. You can say it's not fair. The men refuse to give the women their full name and give them the derivative ska instead of the true ski. But then you could also argue like modern feminism in America, where it's like, I shouldn't have to take the last name of the man anyway.
You don't.
There's always a way to frame the argument to make it seem like someone's being bigoted when it literally doesn't matter.
It's just so tiring.
The word men is in the word women, so that's sexist. The word he is in the word she, so that's sexist. Like
They've tried doing that. They've tried doing that.
with
His
the Y
story.
Yeah, with the Y.
Yeah. Womixen, WOMXN.
Her story.
Her story.
Oh.
It's you know, it's there's a really funny meme where someone said like for a while feminists were claiming that woe, W-O, means belong to. So woe men means property of men. But that's actually not true. The original etymology, I believe, of the word is wereman and wiffman. And so that's where werewolf comes from. So a wereman was a male human, and a wiffman was a female human. And then over time, probably because men were the ones engaging in political affairs, the patriarchy, the were dropped off and just became men, and then women retained the wiffman, suffix or prefix or whatever. So long story short, there's like evolution of language happens, and it's really easy to make anything seem like a conspiracy or bigoted or racist, and they exploit that. They exploit sophistry to convince unsuspecting people who are of good faith and goodwill into doing for them. And for those that think critically, to the chagrin of the New York Times, they don't fall for this stuff. They end up watching shows like this. You guys are great. But a lot of people just fall for CNN. They'll turn it on and they'll be like, Latinx, and they'll go, yes.
I saw Disney also. They had when they were celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. And that's the other thing too. You can just say Hispanic, like that's gender neutral.
too, yeah.
It's like there's
right.
or Latin America. I mean, there's just there's other options. Like why do you have to go after that? And again, I don't want to like seem like I'm just triggered over words, but it's the deeper mindset that they have of like we know better than you do, and if you go against us, you're
I love it.
terrible people.
It's an ideology derived mostly from white leftists to tell minorities how to speak. And I'm like, how do you define white supremacy? You know what I mean? Like a bunch of white academics of privilege telling minorities what to say and think and do. I mean, that sounds like you know better. It sounds a bit like white supremacy to me. I'm not going to tell you. You can say whatever you want. I don't know.
I don't think it's about gender. I don't think it's about sex or anything like that. I don't think it's about gender roles. I think it's about controlling the narrative. And this is something we've talked about in the past. We've talked about changing the language so you can change stuff like the laws. I think this is a matter of sneaky trying to force the evolution of a language to suit your own power goals.
I honestly think that's true. Like we talked about how if you can change the definition of the word gender, then every law on the books becomes a different law. So when the law was written, right, like the 1964 Civil Rights Act, and they say, or derivative policies in various jurisdictions, when they say you may not discriminate on the basis of gender. Well, back then they specifically meant male or female. Today, the activist left in all these institutions has changed the definition of gender. Once people accept it, they say, look, the law says you can't discriminate on the basis of gender. Well, I'm, hydrogender, so you can't discriminate. And then they show up dressed up in a full body, jacuzzi suit or something, more absurd.
Actually, that'd be pretty sweet.
Have you seen those jacuzzi suits?
Oh, wait, is it real?
I think they might be real. Maybe it's something I saw. Maybe I dreamed it
In a
up.
dream.
Yeah, that's like a fever dream right there. You sure you don't have COVID?
Great.
No, I think I saw it on TV once. Don't have COVID. But you know what I mean? I'm just trying to be absurd. Like, if the law was originally intended to address males and females, and now that we've changed language, you're going to argue the law is different. That's a way to exploit the system to change laws without actually having the votes to change the laws. It seems to be a lot of what they're doing.
Yeah,
I didn't think of it that way. But no.
Yeah. I do think a lot of it is just random, though. Like when they say Wimixen, do you guys know what Wimixen is?
No.
WOMXN.
Or flux instead of folks.
Oh, folks
Flux?
with an X.
Yeah, it's folks with an X.
Yes.
Instead.
Folks.
Why?
I don't know how that's
For no reason.
Okay.
I saw that I saw that pop up like a month ago. I was like, where did that come from?
Because they like putting X's on things. It's like a little kid being like, I'm gonna call myself the Thunder Smasher. That's my new name. And the mom is like, Billy, that's not your name. Your name is William. Stop calling yourself Thunder Smasher. And you can't write on your exam at school Thunder Smasher anymore because your name is William. It's like, no, I'm Thunder Smasher. It's like a little kid just trying to be cool. I'm gonna put an X at the end of my word because X's are cool.
You wanna know what's really funny about the letter X? X means Christ in Christianity. So I want everybody to think about that every time they see the word Wimixen or folks. Think about the word Christ.
There you go.
And think about the
I've been
religion.
thinking about religion because the people that want to crush the patriarchy or undo this, there's something to it. Because like if you look at the way the Bible is written, Eve came from Adam's rib in the story. Like the man. Everyone knows that humans are born from women. That's just the way things are.
Right.
Wasn't Lilith first? Is that it?
She was Satan's
I don't know.
wife.
She was Satan's
Something
wife?
different. That's something different.
Wasn't there a woman before Eve?
No.
Really? You
No.
sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
What was I reading?
100%.
They wrote the books for this like mystical woman was created from a dude's rib. Like, look, the man came first. The man is the center in the beginning.
He's a
But like,
protector.
no, he was born from a woman. They just didn't write her into the story.
I was right.
And so these people want to kind of trash that. I mean, this really a bunch of old white dudes wrote the Bible and like had the Council of Nicaea and took out what they wanted to make it tell a story to give men power. But the women are the most the women are the center of the family. They are the creator of the human. And so I see these people wanting to kind of bend or break things back to the way. A different way. I don't know.
I just have to, interject. I was right.
Go ahead, interject.
Lilith appears as Adam's first wife, who was created at the same time and from the same clay as Adam. This contrasts with Eve, who was created from one of Adam's ribs.
Interesting.
Lilith is the legend of the first woman, is a 19th century
legend.
rendition of the old rabbinical legend of Lilith, the first woman, whose life story was dropped, unrecorded from the early world, and whose home, hope, and Eden were passed to another woman.
So it's not in the Bible.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's why
well,
I
it
didn't know
does-
about it.
Are they? Yeah, right.
It's non-biblical. Okay,
So
okay.
maybe it's an
Interesting.
old
I hadn't heard
rabbinical
that.
legend.
Yeah. So I guess
Yeah.
she's a...
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.